Golden State Media Concepts SciFi Podcast. Together we dive into the world of sci-fi and science fiction. From episodes of Star Trek, Star Wars, to The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, all the hot new science fiction movies from the backdoors of Marvel or DC. The Golden State Media Concepts SciFi Podcast. You'll never look at science fiction the same way again.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. Today we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about Harley Quinn getting her new movie.
Yep.
We're going to talk about G.I. Joe 3, hooray.
Hooray.
And a possible live-action Death Note.
On Netflix.
Yeah, well, it's not possible, it's happening, but, you know, I like to dream.
So, wait, but who are you? You didn't introduce yourself. Who are you?
Oh, that's right. I'm Shay Northrup.
And I'm Pauline. But, you guys kind of already probably knew that. But if you didn't know, now you know. Because Shay, Shay, you always forget to tell me who you are.
I always forget.
I never know if it's you, your evil twin. I don't know who I'm getting.
Oh, man, I wish I had an evil twin. Anyway, so we're going to start you guys off by talking about a Harley Quinn spinoff film.
Yes.
So even though the reviewers of Suicide Squad were really, really mean,
I know,
and gave that movie such a terrible score, they actually they hit the $7 million mark, which $700 million mark. My bad. Mm-hmm. Now, so you can say what you want about the film itself, but
made money.
It made a lot of money.
People clearly liked it.
So Warner Brothers is planning on going through with more and more DC movies as we go. And, although some people thought that Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad were terrible, we did get some good performances in both. I think Ben Affleck makes an excellent Batman.
I agree.
And Margaret Robbie plays a great Harley Quinn. Probably the best Harley Quinn we could have ever asked for as far as movie viewers go. Mm-hmm. As well as some other people I think did a really good job in the film. Say what you want about them. I actually enjoyed them, but, I might be an odd man out in that situation. So it seems like they're going to give Margaret Robbie executive producer role on a possible spinoff of Suicide Squad. So she might be getting her own film.
Right.
And she will have executive producer roles and be in it. So looks like she'll be raking in some money. I'm glad they're not just stringing her along for this, being like, hey, you're making money from us. We're the ones in charge. Like, they're actually giving her a little bit of leeway.
Giving her that cut. Yeah. And it's it is kind of cool. And I like that. That's actually what I was thinking too, is that it's nice that she's going to have more of a role just behind camera and in front of camera, which is going to be really good for her.
I think DC does a pretty good job of that, because I know Ben Affleck has a lot of say in a lot of what he does for Batman.
Right.
And I don't know. I like the Warner Brothers company. Like, if I were to work for a company in the film industry, I would probably want to work for Warner Brothers. Like, Warner Brothers always puts out movies that at least grab my attention,
Right.
Like, they're kind of the ones doing, I'm not going to say original stuff, because a lot of it isn't original, but it's a lot darker and a little bit different.
Yeah, they are kind of a little bit dark with some things.
They're not trying to,
I think it's just appealing to an older crowd.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Which is, if
Warner Brothers has always been the ones doing the scary movies and stuff like that, but then they also do a lot of their own kind of thing, like darker stuff, like they did Van Helsing, and I think they were the ones that were in charge of Underworld. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong about that, but they did the Harry Potter movies, and they don't really try too hard to be cutting edge and up and coming. Like, they usually do a pretty good job keeping their stuff very much Warner Brothers feeling. And I don't know, I kind of admire them for that. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of excited to see a Harley Quinn movie. Not my favorite character in the DC universe, but I think she plays the part really, really well.
Right.
And I'd be excited to see what Warner Brothers is going to do with this, because they've kind of taken Batman. They've taken Batman and they've kind of done the Batman thing with it. Like, it definitely feels like Batman, unlike maybe some of the other series that have come out more recently. Christopher Nolan's, for example, doesn't feel like Batman. It's very Batman-esque. but it still has its own kind of twists and turns, and hopefully will be bringing the heroes in a more progressive type way.
I'm also interested to see, because they haven't really said too much exactly what the spinoff is going to do and like what it's going to highlight in the movie, but I personally do want to see more with her and Joker, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, I think that might be what it's about. Like, I'm kind of hoping, and they haven't released any real information about it besides the fact that they want to make one
a spinoff, yeah,
and that or that she'll get some executive producer roles on this. But I would like to see something giving kind of Harley Quinn's origin story, because Harley Quinn hasn't been done in the film universe ever.
Agree.
Like, we've never, besides Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn has never been captured in live action. Like, there's been a lot of animated shows with it, and of course a million comic books. It would be really nice to see
her story.
Her story.
Yeah,
her story. I don't know. I feel like if, instead of maybe making more Batman movies, if we can make more Batman movies about the villains rather than Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Because the thing about Batman is, and shout out to my friend Josh Gascon, because he's the one who says this all the time. He says that the reason he sticks with Batman isn't because of Batman, but because of the villains.
Yeah,
he said if it was just for Batman, he would have given up on Batman when he was a kid.
Right.
You know, but Batman's villains have become kind of more of what we relate to and more of, you know,
I do like his villains.
The story, anyway. Yeah, well, and like the villains in the Batman series are really well fleshed out. Like, they're definitely people. And maybe not so much in the early days of Batman, but later on, and as Batman has progressed, they treat the villains more like real human beings. Yeah. You know, instead of like monsters and fodder that the heroes can just beat down on.
I was going to say, just there as for to glorify Batman, right?
Say what you want about DC and say what you want about Marvel, but at the end of the day, DC does a very good job humanizing people and does a really good job. Like, Marvel does a good job humanizing their heroes.
Yeah.
But their villains are weak sauce.
Yeah.
In the DC universe, the heroes are really they hold a lot of weight. They're kind of devastating. And if someone dies in the DC universe, and this is from the comic standpoint and the movie standpoint, it actually holds a lot of weight. Yeah. You know? And I think the Marvel films are getting a little bit better about that, but definitely the early ones were a lot more just like, oh, look at all this cool destruction.
Right, yeah.
Next thing you know, Paris is on fire.
Yeah, everything's just blown up. Yeah.
You know? I don't know how they're able to like rebuild so quickly.
When I watch the movies, it's funny because I do think about stuff like that. I'm like, so they destroyed literally everything, and I'm just like, so who has to clean up? Who's like
one of the things that's actually really interesting in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I'm not a big fan of, but like in stuff like Jessica Jones and their shows on Netflix, they talk a lot about like, so where were you when the invasion happened, or where were you when, you know, they talk about the Avengers movies and they talk about some of the events. So that's kind of cool. I think that's kind of nice that they kind of give like, hey, this happened and we had to rebuild from it. Although you never actually see like the aftermath on any of the
process,
shows or anything. Like,
the devastation. I would like to
see that. There was an old commercial back in the day for Spider-Man where you see these guys, you know, the window cleaners of like skyscrapers. Yeah. They're cleaning off the webs like with squeegees.
Oh yeah, that's cute. I like that.
Although like,
because it's like, where does it go?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll tell you where it goes.
Tell me.
Yeah, so Spider-Man's webs dissolve over time. So after a couple hours or so,
I guess like real spider webs, because I guess real spider webs, you don't really, unless you wipe them down, they just kind of disappear too, I guess.
Eventually. Yeah, but they degrade. So like over time, it just kind of goes away.
Right.
Which I think is kind of an interesting thing. Like, you know, not a lot of people know about that, but it is something that I think a lot of people have wondered about. Like,
right, yeah. It's just everywhere. That's actually pretty cool.
New York is just one big webby city.
Web, it's just hanging everywhere, just always.
By what, like the 200th comic, like the whole city is engulfed in a web. So it looks like we're coming up on a break. When we get back, we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about
G.I. Joe 3.
G.I. Joe 3.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hi. Science fiction. Science fiction.
It's technically sci-fi in the titles, but I always say science fiction.
Science fiction.
Science fiction sounds smarter.
Yeah, I was going to say. Sci-fi kind of...
It's more intelligent.
So, yeah, science fiction. I like that.
When I think about sci-fi, I think about the Sci-Fi Channel, and I think of more like... When I think of like the abbreviation, I think of lowbrow sci-fi, and we're highbrow connoisseurs of science fiction.
So, welcome back to the Science Fiction Podcast, where we do things with pinkies out.
Oh, yes.
Pinkies out.
Very much snobbery here.
Yes. But, so they are actually, so right now, so G.I. Joe has had 2 movies already out, and they're planning on making a 3rd one, which for some people that's exciting. For others, not so much. They, some things you don't need a 3rd. But they are actually pushing back the schedule to start the production of that, because of The Rock. So now The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, for some people, he goes by both, whatever. He wasn't in the first movie, but thankfully for the G.I. Joe franchise, he was in the second movie, which...
Well, arguably, thankfully.
Well, as far as bringing in more viewers.
More talent, yeah,
right.
Sure.
And so he kind of helped that, because after the first one, it kind of like fizzled out, but bringing him on board for the second one helped bring in, because he's kind of like done a really good job of transitioning into the arena as far as for acting. And so he's pretty popular.
Well, like The Rock was a good actor even when he was back in wrestling. Like that's why people liked him so much, was because he actually put on a good show and he brought this big character to the screen. I think if anyone could do acting and wrestling, I think the only person that can really do it is The Rock. Like I've seen a few other people try. Stone Cold Steve Austin has been in a few things that I didn't think was terrible, but for the majority, it's kind of bad.
So, but that's the problem right now that G.I. Joe 3 is having, is the fact that The Rock is involved in so many projects right now. Yeah. And so that's kind of what is pushing back the schedule, because they want him to be a part of it, because they realize like his value and what he brings to the table when it comes to this movie and this franchise. But he is currently he's like working a lot of things. He's doing Jumanji, he's doing Baywatch.
He's going to be Black Adam in the DCEU.
Yes.
He's in Fast and Furious, Journey 3, which, I mean, dude, why?
So, and he's also, he's a voice actor for Disney right now with Moana. So
the new Disney princess film.
Yeah, which I'm excited for that. So,
I'm actually excited for it too.
I think it's going to be really cute. It's going to be a lot of fun.
A lot of people were actually having a problem with the fact that the main, the demigod is kind of a big, larger man.
Right.
And a lot of people were thinking, oh, well, that's racist.
But, I mean, it's kind of true to character.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sorry, like, we can't have an overweight character. Yeah. He's not even that overweight.
Huge,
like he looks muscular.
He looks really big, and like he looks like he looms over everything, which I like. I think he actually looks pretty cool, and I think that Dwayne Johnson playing that character just adds to it. I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect. So, like I said, so because of all of that, and because he's putting dabbling in so much, and he has a lot on his plate right now, they are pushing it back. But his co-star Byung-hun Lee was saying that he has heard from the studio that there's, the possibility of doing a third one. It's basically just up to the fact on whether or not they're going to be able to coordinate schedules.
Well, the thing is, they've pushed it back.
Mm-hmm.
It is an official announcement, though. Like, they have an IMDb page and everything, which literally, the synopsis of the film right now, as of now, is the battle against Cobra continues in the third installment of the popular Hasbro franchise based on the comic book and cartoon series from the 80s.
Right. So.
Oh, boy.
So it.
Popular.
Very popular.
I don't know. Like, I haven't met a whole lot of people that actually enjoyed the G.I. Joe movies besides my mom.
Right.
My mom liked the G.I. Joe movies, but that's because my mom likes Bruce Willis and The Rock.
Right. I was going to say, I think it does have a lot to just do with people liking certain actors in the films, and so that's why they will go see it.
Have you witnessed the
Joe
movies?
I was interested in it, and I'm gonna admit, only because The Rock was in it. So I think I get why they want to wait for him.
But did you see it?
I saw bits and pieces.
But you know about it.
But I didn't go. I do know about it. I'm aware, but I didn't go.
I used to love the show when I was a kid. Like,
what they're worried about is going to happen. People aren't going to go if Dwayne's not in it.
No. Well, and let me tell you why. Let me tell it to you.
Break it down.
Besides the fact that, like, most of the movie looked like it was shot on a green screen.
Oh.
Which it probably was.
I hate that. I hate when you can
Looks
tell.
so fake.
I hate that. I hate that.
But so the first one got a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. Literally, they burned down the Eiffel Tower. Like, they literally set Paris on fire. Like, and like, the government's like, yeah, we're mad at you. You burned down Paris. But they're like, we stopped Cobra. And I'm like, they're like, at what cost? And I'm like, exactly. You guys are the reason that, like, they screw up big time in that movie. And then they have, like, this big fight at the end, and you're supposed to be on their side. And it's just kind of silly. Mm-hmm. Like, I liked the show, and I liked the action figures and the comic books when I was a kid because it's military stuff. And, like, when you're a little boy, like, all you want to do is go shoot bad guys. Like, so I guess I shouldn't have gone into it with any expectations because I don't like the Transformers series. But I was kind of let down by G.I. Joe. And when I heard that they were releasing a second one, and by the way, the second one was riddled with all kinds of just really big problems that they shot themselves in the foot with. Like, I think, like, some of the schedules were conflicting, so they had, like, this whole overarching story, brought The Rock on halfway through, had to reshoot a bunch of stuff, and then all that stuff with Bruce Willis ended up being like flashback stuff. Right. And flashbacks, I'm sorry guys, are a little bit cheesy in movies. They don't really work. I don't know. I try to avoid flashbacks as much as I can because I feel like they're just this outdated, cheesy trope that never quite works out. Nobody takes seriously. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I'm not excited for G.I. Joe 3. I'm kind of under the impression that I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't happen.
It just fizzles away.
But we will see what happens. Like, I'm not sure. It looks like so what happened with this one too, like the movies got kind of worse.
Right.
But we're kind of in this day and age in Hollywood where if something even makes remotely any money, they're going to put out 1 million sequels.
Yes, I'm over it.
Yeah. We don't need Transformers 5.
I was going to say, we don't need like 5, 6 films. Just stretching it out, but I don't know.
Well, when people say that the ideas are dead, just get better writers.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe dust off some old scripts that don't suck.
Right. Right. Trying something new. I know we keep just getting... It's just regurgitation.
And you can argue that there is never anything new, but it's always about putting a new spin on something, figuring out something new. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like you can make a style of film. Like we could make a G.I. Joe-esque film and it be good.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't have to be G.I. Joe.
It doesn't. Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't know. Did anybody... I don't even know if anybody went and saw the G.I. Joe movies, to be honest.
I don't know anybody that saw in theaters.
Yeah, I went and saw the first one in theaters.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, so we'll see. It may fizzle out. The Rock is just... He's literally everywhere doing a lot of things. So who knows? Especially if they're waiting on him. I don't know when he'll really have time to do something like that.
You'd think of that eventually he would just get to the point to where like he actually picks and chooses his own movies.
Yeah.
Because I feel like The Rock just kind of does anything that anybody asks him to.
Yeah, he's kind of he's kind of everywhere.
Because he's been in kids movies, he's been in like
so soon he'll start to realize his worth and be like, I don't have to.
Yeah, I mean he's actually worth a lot. Like he's pretty good. Did you ever watch The Other Guys? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I like that
he was only briefly in it, but he was great.
I think, and I like that he can do a little bit of everything. Like he's not really typecast, even though he could have had the potential to be typecast.
Even the movie where he plays the Tooth Fairy,
right? Yeah,
kind of cute.
Yeah. So he's fun. He's a lot of fun, I think.
In kids' movies, when they put the man in the dress, like I'm just like, okay, yeah. We've been doing this forever.
Right.
A man in a dress.
Hey, but he's game for whatever. So that's always makes it fun.
All right. We're coming up on another break. When we get back, we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about
Death Note.
Yes.
Which I'm excited about.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings.
Of course. Here we go.
Anyway.
We'll be back with it.
Yeah.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. I'm your host, Shay Northrup, and with me I have
Pauline.
Yes.
Pauline.
The amazing Pauline Parker.
Don't say my last name.
Am I not allowed to say your last name?
Oh, man. Well, if you guys caught it, you caught it. If you missed it, you missed it. It's never coming back.
Show notes.
Oh my gosh. Just telling everybody all my business. Nowhere to hide.
Okay, maybe we should come up with DJ names.
DJ Polly Peasers, 1, 2, 3'sers. I got it. I'm ready to go.
Anyway. So Adam Wingard has teased violence, sexuality, and nudity in Netflix's new live-action adaptation of Death Note. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know who Adam Wingard is. I'm going to give you a little tutorial on the fella in just a second. Now, Adam Wingard has done some excellent things.
Blair Witch Project.
And he's done some... Yeah, isn't that the one the new Blair Witch Project is his thing?
I think it just came out recently. This weekend.
Yeah, he did that. It came out this weekend.
Yeah.
So he's done the new Blair Witch Project, in case you haven't seen that. A couple segments on VHS. Mm-hmm. He did Your Next, which is actually... Your Next is a personal gem of like that I just love.
He does love it.
I understand why people don't like it, but I think that it is an excellent film. He did The Guest, which was trash, and he did some stuff for VHS too. So he's done a lot. He's been doing stuff since 2004. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about his work. I feel like it's really hit and miss.
Right.
I like some of it, and I dislike a lot of it too. He does a lot of shorts. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't done a crazy amount of work yet.
Well, maybe it'll be better
he's still
that it's
new.
like episodes, like it shows instead of a film.
Yes. So I'm going to just start by saying that I am not a weeb. And in case you don't know what a weeb is, it is a semi-derogatory term for people who love anime. I am not one of those people, but I actually happen to love Death Note.
It's okay if you are one of those people. We don't mind.
No, but I'm just clarifying. And I know that Death Note may not technically be considered science fiction, but I do think that it kind of falls in some of the subgenres a little bit.
It does.
It's So what Death Note was originally, it's about a student who discovers a supernatural book called the Death Note. And basically what you can do is you write in a name, a date, and you have to think about the person's face when you write it down, and they die.
Right.
So if you don't write down how they die of a heart attack in 24 hours or whatever.
Yep.
And then you can also write out like a date, so that way
that date is
if you want to kill them like a week later, they'll die. Now you can also write the way that they die, so like jumping through windows, suicide, all kinds of craziness.
Yeah.
So once you get your hands on one of these books, you can't go to heaven and you can't go to hell. There are all these rules that are in the book itself.
That are in the play, yeah.
Now, what also happens is if you get a hold of it, the demon that actually owns the book follows you around. So the show itself is about a character named Light, and he wants to become the new god, so to speak. And so...
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, he feels that he is serving justice by killing off certain people.
Yes.
And that he's kind of balancing the scales, so to speak.
So he kills off prisoners, rapists, murderers, and that sort of thing.
People
but he doesn't
are bad.
do it so much out of like... He does it out of justice, right? But he doesn't really do it so much out of because he feels like it's right or wrong. It's more of because he wants to become this big godlike figure.
He wants the power.
He wants power.
Right.
And so there's a character named L who is in charge of this task force that is being used to try to track down he goes by Kira, which, you know, is kind of like Killa in a sense. Like they actually bring that up in the show.
Right.
And he's trying to stop
whoever it is that's causing all these
problems.
Right.
So that sounds kind of lame in of itself, but once you watch it, there's a lot of really cool like heaven and hell stuff, morality things, and it's really smart. It's a really smart show. There's a lot of like just planning things out, having to do things so you don't get caught, and a lot of that sort of thing.
Well, I like the fact that Light is actually on the task force.
Right.
So,
well, yeah, that happens a little bit later.
Yeah,
but
like they don't know that, of course, clearly. But I like that twist because it's kind of like he's watching himself, just in case. And what other, you know, people always say it's better to hide in plain sight.
Well, and he has to give some like leeway too. Like he has to kind of give hints, and like try to look like he's helping, but not really helping. Like
I like that. I like that twist.
One of the things that's interesting too is in the demon world where they have the death notes and everything, like the demons of death, things, because there's no really huge world wars going on. There's no like genocides really all that much going on. Like the world's pretty much staying status quo, especially in Japan.
Right.
And they're all kind of bored. So they're all just kind of sitting around, doing nothing, playing games. And the main demon, the one that follows Light around, Ryuk, he's kind of the reason the Death Note gets dropped in the world. And yeah, so like it's interesting to see like their version of hell. Like it's kind of funny. Like they're all just kind of sitting around bored because there's nothing to do. Nobody's really dying and that sort of thing. They think humans are kind of boring at this point. So Adam Wingard has gotten a hold of it, and they're doing an American version. It's supposed to premiere sometime in 2017. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like, I don't know if I trust the director enough, but at the same time, I feel like he could do a really good job.
Right. I'm interested to see his take on it.
I'm very interested to see that too. I'm not so sure how I feel about the cast in of itself.
Because, for the American,
yeah, like I really feel like the guy who's playing Light might not be the best choice. I know they're in post-production right now. I don't really have a problem with who they're getting to play Mia, and I don't have a problem with who they're getting to play L. But the guy playing Light seems a little childish and boy toy for me.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep, it does.
He's been in The Fault in Our Stars, Stuck in Love, The Intern.
Aw, yeah. I see.
So Paper Towns, like he is the quintessential teenage,
right?
You know, dreamy eyes,
like
dreamboat.
Yeah.
And the thing about Light Light is very much
Opposite.
He's a dark character.
Opposite of Light.
he plays the part of the good old nice guy pretty well, but like he has a really bad temper. He feels like he needs to be in charge. Like he gets straight A's. Like he is the boss,
right?
You know. And I don't know if this kid's going to be able to pull this off, and that's something that kind of worries me.
Yeah. And I mean, if you are not too familiar with this series, it did run from 2003 to 2016.
Yes.
And it's also, there's a lot of different versions, like adaptations of this. So
well, there's a bunch of different movies that got put on in Japan.
There's a musical, video game, so you can kind of, be more involved with, like, if you're interested.
Right.
I think actually playing a video game of this would be kind of fun.
Yeah, there has been a few video games, I think.
I think that would be really good.
So Keith Stanfield is playing L, and I feel like he can do a pretty good job of it. Like, he was in Straight Outta Compton, he was in The Purge of Anarchy, Selma, Short Term 12, just to name a few. And I think as long as he plays it quirky enough, because L's character is a little strange. The way he eats and the way he sits and the way he does things. He would really have to kind of downplay, because like Keith Stanfield kind of does the tough guy thing pretty well. He's going to have to downplay the tough guy thing. Like, he's going to have to be a little bit of a weenie.
Right.
A smart weenie.
Right.
And hopefully he can do it. So one of the things that is interesting about it going to Netflix is we are not going to get any censorship.
Right.
Hashtag sex, hashtag violence. We're going to get a lot of it. I like that kind of thing. The show itself was pretty gory and action-packed, like, just in of itself. A lot of, like, shootouts, a lot of people, like hurting themselves, but I feel like the one thing I do think that Adam can do is he is going to bring the gore,
right?
Because he is a horror director.
That's his genre. Yeah. So that part, I'm kind of nervous about because I don't like scary movies,
right?
But
I think that there's enough crime and thriller involved.
But I might like the thrill and the action, yeah. And like I'm okay with gore,
supernatural.
I'm kind of okay. I'm okay with like blood and things like that. So I think I can handle it. I'll just have to watch it with the lights on.
I think you should watch the original show too.
I am. That is something I really want to like dive into some of the other adaptations first and watch some and read. There's it's like been a novel, things like that.
It's been a novel. It's been a graphic novel. Graphic novel using it loosely. It's a manga, but it only went on for 12 series, and I think the show itself is really short. Like, I think it's only like a season or two. Like, I think it's 2 seasons. So that part I am, because clearly it's kind of big in Japan. Like so I'm interested to see. It got pretty big here too. Like, if you didn't really care for anime, like you probably still heard of Death Note, especially when it came out. Anyway, I kind of wanted to give a quote that Adam said himself. Yeah, go ahead. So, and I quote, "We can do whatever we want." That was the cool thing about it, because it's an anime film. So technically, it's a cartoon that you get to bring to life. To me, the thing about anime is that it's so adult-oriented. I remember going to Suncoast growing up. You see Akira there with the little not for kids sticker on it. That always made an impact on me. So doing my first live-action anime thing, to me, was important that you have those adult themes. So it's got nudity, it's got swearing, it's got a ton of violence. Jason Easer, who did Hobo with a Shotgun. Oh, Hobo with a Shotgun. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Quotes back on. I brought him on. I'm good friends with him as a second unit director. There's basically like 3 good Jason Easer short films in there, and they're all very gory. And I was able to just turn him loose sometime and just let him do some crazy stuff. Now, Hobo with a Shotgun. This excites me. So if anything, I'm going to really enjoy Jason's stuff. Right. Because I actually enjoy Jason's stuff a little bit better than I enjoy Adam's. Hobo with a Shotgun was an excellent film. Hobo with a Shotgun's this film where this homeless dude wanders into this city, and the city is just like full of crime and rampant terribleness, like people making snuff films. There's a group of guys who are kind of in charge, and he wants to buy a lawnmower so he can start a lawn mowing business. Well, he meets a prostitute and he's trying to help her out a little bit, and she's trying to help him out a little bit, and he eventually just gets so mad because like they like beat up the prostitute lady that he goes and buys a shotgun and just starts killing all of the terrible people in the town. And there's like this really cool group of guys called the Plague that they like hunt. They're like in full metal costumes. One of them has a machete. The other one has this crossbow that he like wraps this rope around your neck and shoots the crossbow up into the ceiling so it hangs you. And they go around and they like capture him at one point. And like my favorite thing about the movie is they have like this checklist of people they've killed, and it's like the Easter Bunny, Jesus, JFK, Abraham Lincoln. So the Plague has been around for a while. And man, that's actually kind of exciting. Like,
he's so excited about this now. You see how he just like changed up on everybody?
Well, I still think that this could be garbage, but the fact that Jason is involved like is kind of exciting to me. And I kind of did want to touch up on Hobo with a shotgun at some point.
Right. Well, I'm excited for it because, like I said, I just am worried that I'm going to get really scared. But it's okay. Like I said, I'll watch it with the lights on.
I'm very skeptical. Like, I really enjoyed the series. I didn't think I was going to enjoy the series because, again, I'm not really into the whole anime thing.
Right.
But because I enjoyed the series so much, like, this better be good.
Yeah.
Like, if he messes this up and pulls a Avatar: The Last Airbender on us and M. Night Shyamalan, he might not ever get to work again. Like, that's the thing. Like, Death Note is very sacred to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And the same kind of people that like Avatar: The Last Airbender are kind of some of the same people that like Death Note. So you screw this up, buddy.
Dunzo.
Yeah. We're going to grab our pitchforks and torches. So
well, and it's going to premiere sometime in 2017. If you go on Netflix, we tried it. You can type it in and see like it's coming.
The little card is already there.
Yep, it's there. So
I hate the font.
Yeah, Shay did not appreciate the font at all. I
like the original font a lot, and I think that the new font just kind of looks a little too generic.
Some stuff. Okay, yeah, I agree. So, and we'll see because they're trying to like Americanize it a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. Like they changed his name to Turner, Light Turner. Like they changed his last name.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. But I don't like when movies go in and are like, "Oh, we're gonna make it more American."
Yeah.
Like,
so
how about you leave some of that culture in there, buddy?
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. 2017 is not that far away. Hopefully, we'll get it sooner rather than later.
Asian.
I agree. Or somebody kind of dark looking, like dark-esque.
We don't need white people being in movies all the time. Anyway, that ends our science fiction podcast. Pauline, why don't you tell them where they can find us?
So you can find us on our network website, GSMCpodcast.com.
Not .net.
Not .net. Do the .com. I don't know what would happen if you put .net. Probably
still find it.
Error. Like, I don't know.
Probably still find it.
So who knows? But so you can go on GSMCpodcast.com, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. You can listen to this one all over again. You can listen to future and past episodes
1 million times,
as much as you want. Like, you know, if that's your thing, if you just want to like over and over and over, you know, that's cool too. Whatever, you know, it's fine. It's fine with me.
Also, I know you kind of mentioned it a little bit.
Ooh, what?
Facebook and Twitter.
Yes.
Please.
Leave us, drop us a comment.
Tell us what you think of the show. We want to hear from you. Be a part of the conversation.
Yeah,
we want to converse. We want to talk about science fiction with you, the audience, the listener.
Yes.
And that's about all the time we have for the show.
So we'll talk to you guys later. I'm Pauline.
And I'm Shay Northrup. And make sure you guys stay saucy.
Bye.